I'm Mike Brilla, host of the Inspired Teacher Podcast, a part of the Education Podcast Network, just like the show you're listening to now. Shows on the network are individually owned and opinions expressed may not reflect others. Find other interesting education podcasts at edupodcastnetwork.com.
Thanks for listening to the Tech Tools for Teachers podcast, where each week we talk about a free piece or two of technology that you can use in your classroom. I'm your host, Shanna Martin. I'm a middle school teacher, technology and instructional coach for my district.
And I'm her producer and husband, Fuzz Martin, and I always start the show with a pun, but this week I'm drawing a blank.
Oh, so clever. Nice.
Thank you.
You're pretty proud of that one, I can tell.
Yeah.
You're like squinty smiling.
Yeah. When they come to me and I'm like before the show, I'm just going to feel real proud of myself. Kind of like chest
gold
gets,
star.
Breathing
Nice.
through my whole,
It's
it's
feeling
great.
good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, episode 165. And it's a fun one this week. It's a fun, quick one this week. I have been
Doing grad work.
poring over homework for the last weeks. And my big final project is due tonight at midnight. And so gonna present it and then take a couple months off and take another class because that's what you do.
That's why it's called continuing education,
Correct.
because you continue to do it.
Always.
Yeah.
And you're always learning, and learning is fun. But sometimes your brain is fried from learning.
Yeah.
And so I decided, while I do have not a hefty episode, but I do have one in the works to support EL students, which I really want to focus on. I wanted to do a lighter, fun, this is cool, because I was doing this as in my breaks between my homework. So I thought I'd share it with
So this is
everybody.
one for Shanna today.
This is one for me and your students for sure, because it's really just kind of fun. And it is called Let's Draw.it. So it is LETSDRAW.IT. Let's Draw It.
Let's draw it.
So Let's Draw It is really, it's a drawing site, but it's got different fun activities. So what's cool about this site is you can jump into any of the drawing games as a guest. So there's Guess and Draw, which is like a multiplayer, it's a drawing game.
It's like a Pictionary kind of.
Kinda, yeah, where you can guess and then you get points if you draw like the same thing and you know, kind of thing. Then there's Draw Best, which is like a drawing contest. It's a multiplayer online like drawing game and players choose the word and then they draw and then they rate others. And then there's Draw Copy, which is cool, where you like have a picture and then the picture shows up in the background and then you have to like draw over their picture.
And try to get the lines the closest. Is that?
Yeah,
Okay.
like close to that. And they'll give you a comparison. And then there's Simple Draw, which is a drawing tool and animation creator. So I'm going to kind of walk through some of these. And then there's like a how-to draw, which they have like a video and they teach you the steps of drawing. So what's cool about these is you can pick the different drawing activities. There's also a version on like Google Play. but you can play it on a desktop or a Chromebook. And so when you go into any one of the drawing activities, you can play with friends. So as long as you have an account created, and the kids can create it if they have Google at school, they can have their Google account and they can set them to private, which to me was really important that if I'm going to share this with kids and they're going to be drawing online, we always teach them to use like a nickname that's not their own name, but also they can choose to do these activities, set them to private, and then just invite their friends or kids in class, or you can do it on your own. So that way it is set. For the guess and draw, you can set to 1 minute or 2 minutes. What I realized when I was drawing today is that 1 minute or 1 minute and 30 seconds goes really fast when you have to do something and you're trying to draw on a trackpad. So that was a whole lot of amazingness of this cat I was drawing earlier. You can play with anyone. And if you choose to pick any topic and choose any one, you can choose to play as guest. So you have that option too if you don't want to sign in. And if you don't want your kids to create accounts, they can always sign in as guest and use a nickname, so not use their real name. Draw Best is pretty cool. It's where you can join the room, and you can either have kids in your classroom join, or they can play with others. they just make sure that they have their code in there or whatever. And so then what's funny is when they go to rate them or they have like AI rating these drawings, usually mine are really bad. But it's just a great way to create and not use your brain for a minute and just make something or puzzle pieces. And you get to pick and choose. Like this one is they had a competition. There's puzzle pieces involved. I like the draw copy one the best, I think, because that's when you get to play against anyone and they'll give you 2 pictures to pick from. And then you attempt to draw. Ooh, I can draw this really fancy surfer guy or a seashell. Pretty sure I'm going for a seashell. But it'll pick whoever is in the room, whoever like the most chosen picture. And then you get your little drawing tools and your markers and you can trace the drawing. I really need to work on that because while I think that I could trace something, clearly I can't. And then you can go through and you can fill and you can delete and you have a little eraser. And I like to change the colors and make sure it looks absolutely nothing like the picture it's supposed to. And so it's just a great way to kind of create and release and the game's kind of fun. And I like that if you are in the middle of a day and you're still like it was raining outside, you got to pick up a quick, oh, great, we have recess inside. This would be a fun thing to do. So if it's brain break or recess or things like that, this is a great way to build that in. I think you and I are both competing right now in the seashell
I'm not doing
competition. Well. I changed the colors. I didn't like the tan color, so I have an aqua seashell going on. And so you can create your own, definitely. I like that it gives you some skills too with the, let's see how this turns out and what we're actually doing. It's kind of amazing.
Oh, you used your full name when you logged in here. I'm Dragon.
Oh, nice. I appreciate that. I just used my Google sign-in and I didn't change my name because I was using it for my podcast.
Yeah.
But I would definitely swap it out there. #Dragon. I can see you, which is pretty amazing. Also, then the last tool or the last activity on here, which I think is really cool, is the how to draw part.
Okay.
Where when you go to pick the drawing, you can choose if you want like basics or if you want something a little fancier. And then they have a little video and they walk you through step by step of how to actually do that drawing. I know our youngest, who's in 3rd grade, loves drawing videos and practicing drawing. So I think that would be a fun way to kind of learn some new skills or see some of these drawings in action before my tracing of things in aqua and black instead of the beautiful tan seashell that I'm supposed to be coloring right now. And so it's kind of cool that then it'll teach you how to use these, make these drawings and some of these like art skills as well. Get to rate your drawing. Yours is a purple spot.
Yeah, I erased all of it.
Oh. Well, now you can see them in comparison.
Yeah,
you made a purple spot. Oh, I gave you a thumbs down. So there's that. So you can have conversations with the person next to you while you were playing Let's Draw It as well.
Because I see they have a chat function.
They do.
Does that become a problem?
You could click the disable button, which I just give my kids in to do, is to disable it. If you want to talk, like if they're playing in class and they're playing against each other, I'm like, you can talk to each other, but just disable the chat button.
Okay.
And so, then you can do that as well. So it's cool. There is a premium account on there if you want to have like fancier things or save them or that kind of thing. When you do simple draw, you do have the option of being able to draw and you're able to share it as well. So that's just something to note that as you make things, there are some of them where you can create them and then share them while you are making. So that's like simple draw within there. So Let's Draw is just a fun, like brain break, brain release, create something cool. I know the kids really like to play it and it's an easy brain break, indoor recess kind of deal, or just like putzing around if kids want to create and they have some downtime. It's just a cool way to do that. And you can do some whole class activities too if you choose to. You can do the guessing draw game or who draws best or that kind of thing. You can throw those into your classroom as well. So it's an easy, light, non-hard thinking, everyone's brain is fried week this week.
Yes.
So you should check out letsdraw.it and see all of the cool things that you can come up with. And I am impressed with, like, I am not good at this, but there are people that are really, really good at drawing on computers. And I think that that's pretty cool too, because you can see that whole other skill set that I know I don't have, but many people do. So that's kind of cool.
You can just play and draw your own conclusion.
Ha ha. Oh my goodness.
I put the art in smart. I don't know. We're working that one.
Yeah, workshop that one a little bit. Well, thanks for tuning in. This has been the Tech Tools for Teachers podcast. If you ever have any questions, you can find me on the app, formerly known as Twitter, at SmartNWI, or on Threads, or on Facebook. And if you want to get more information on the links to the technology discussed in this episode, you can visit smartandwi.com. If you'd like to support the show, please consider buying a coffee or two. You can visit buymeacoffee.com/smartandwi or visit smartandwi.com and click on that cute little purple coffee cup. Your donations help keep the show going. New episodes each week. Thanks for listening. Go educate and innovate.
The ideas and opinions expressed in this podcast and the Smart and WI website are those of the author, Shanna Martin, and not of her employer. Prior to using any of the technologies discussed on this podcast, please consult with your employer regulations. This podcast offers no guarantee that these tools will work for you as described, but we sure hope they do. And we'll talk to you next week right here on the Tech Tools for Teachers podcast.